Welcome everybody to TCR, Trinity Competitive Racing, and welcome to another episode of the Racing Debrief, TCR's podcast where we combine the world of e-racing, sim racing, and TCR with real-life motorsports and Formula One, a true racing enthusiast listen. I'm your host, C. Freeze, and I am joined alongside Mr. Camden Luca, the co-host, and his first welcome to our brand new look of the Racing Debrief. So welcome back, Camden, and yeah, how are we feeling?
Seafreeze, I walked into the podcast today and I didn't know where I was. This new fancy look that we have here, it kind of threw me off. I thought I was at the wrong house at first. It's looking really good.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we've had some cool updates with graphics and logos and a little bit more effort into the YouTube and into the podcast, so hopefully everyone enjoys. But today we got the TCR Hall of Fame nominations, the list of everyone on the ballot. So we're going to kind of be talking about the nominations. And this is the third induction of the TCR Hall of Fame for season 20. Now, a little note to add here is that we did miss a few seasons of the Hall of Fame. So this season, we have a lot more people on the ballot to kind of catch up because we did miss a few seasons when we did introduce this, which I believe was back in season 15. And then I think we did another one in season 16 as the second induction. In the last few seasons, we kind of just missed. So I thought, we should definitely bring it back for season 20. It's a big, nice number. Let's bring it back and in a big way because there's a lot of people on the ballot and a lot of people are going to get in.
Yeah, and because that we've missed the last few seasons with this, we're going to have 6 people get in. The first 2 nominations, we've had 3 people get in each time back in season 15 and season 16. We're bumping it up a notch this time. We're going to go with 6 people, but that may seem like a lot, Seafreeze, but like you said, when we get into all of these people on the ballot, you're going to be like, whoa, we're only putting 6 people in on this entire list?
Yeah, and actually, I had thought we had maybe thought even more than 6 could possibly get in. So I guess it kind of depends on the results from the nomination. This isn't going to be a full public vote. We're sending this to people who are already in the Hall of Fame, other notables, probably officials, moderators, and I guess other people who are, notable in TCR where they would get a right to vote for the Hall of Fame. So I guess more of those details on who's eligible to vote will come out with, obviously, the announcement. It's probably already out if this was posted. But yeah, so we're going to kind of go through that. In order to be eligible in the nomination, this is what we came up with. So we're in season 20 currently. So the first 10 seasons is pretty much unlocked, which means if, the way I was doing it, pulling the names is went from season to season, class to class, started at season 1 all the way up to season 10. If your name shows up, like if you participated in any race, one race, if your name showed up, you're on the ballot as long as you've attended 15 races in your career, which we would take the present stats from that. So what I mean by that is if someone raced in season 10 and did one race, but they raced a bunch from season 11 to 20, they're still going to be on it because obviously they've had more than one race start because we have all season, I guess, stats up to season 19. So that's kind of the eligibility factor. So it was more of a basis of, hey, if you did 15 races or more in the first 10 seasons, you're going to be on the ballot, which is usually around a season or so, right? Because our season lengths have obviously changed and throughout, but if you get around 15, that's probably you've been here for at least around a season. That's a good sample size.
Yeah, and I think it's seasons 1 through 10 is half the league's history, if you think about it.
Yeah, right.
So there's a lot of people that have been in the league throughout half of the league's history. And, we'll see where things progress down the line, but it could be the type of thing to where we maybe keep this format for season 21 if we bring the Hall of Fame back for season 21, because there's still going to be a lot of people on the ballot if we were to do the same thing next season, to where we only have seasons 1 through 10. And then we'll get to a point too to where we bump it up and we get people from like season 11 through season 15 on the ballot at some point, because I mentioned this yesterday, but TCR seasons, they go by like dog years because we have 2 seasons per year, right? We're at a point now to where season 15 was 5 seasons ago. That's a long time. It's a long time ago now, Seafreeze. I'm feeling old.
Yeah. Well, I only got one question for you though, Camden.
Okay.
Who let the dogs out? Sorry, I don't know why that song.
Yeah, I don't know where you were going with that.
I don't know. Well, you said dog years, and then I was thinking dog songs.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, that song is an old song.
It is.
I guess you're making me feel old.
Yeah.
Older than I already felt. So.
Yeah. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention is, we introduced this in season, 15, and then 16. We allowed 3 to get in each season. So I think the number I had actually came up with was, if we continued that trend, right, 3 per season, well, we missed 17, 18, 19, and we're doing 20. So 3 times 4 would be around 12 nominations. Now, if we get enough votes, we could possibly have up to that amount. But there's going to be some requirement that you will need. So you'll need, a percentage of the votes or enough votes to get in. You can't just get 1 vote and you're the 12th guy and you get in. Like, no, you need more votes, more to get in. So obviously we don't know exactly how many people we'll have, but when we do send it out, we'll see how many people we're sending it to, see what the results are, and kind of come up with a fair number to get us in there. And then that's something that can kind of change over time on how we do it. Maybe have a little committee, a Hall of Fame committee, writes on who's eligible and who's also eligible to vote. So I think it's pretty cool. Now we're season 20, so right, it's half the seasons. And now when we go to season 21 and we do this whole thing again, we'll have 1 more season unlocked. So now we'll have season 11. If your name pops up there and you meet the requirements, you'll get added to the nomination. So we're basically 10 seasons behind, which I think is a good number, because that means you've been around TCR a long time. Anyone who comes in recent is going to have to wait their fair share and let their, I would say 10 seasons is how long in years, Camden?
5 years.
5 years, right? So you're going to need to be around a little bit before your name pops up, but that's also contributes, because there's 3 ways you can kind of get in as well, right? And I think we want to maybe speak about that, Camden. Like, how are these nominees getting in? There's, I guess, 3 ways we can classify them under.
Yeah, well, in order to be on the ballot, you need to have 15 race starts. That's the big one. And that's partially why you see a lot of other people on this list. So that's the first thing. When you say there's 3 ways to get in, are you talking like notable accomplishments specifically? Is that what you're
like you can get in kind of like, obviously we have the stats up here right now. So I would say the large majority of people voting will be stats heavy. What did you do as a driver?
How will people?
Yeah. So like number 1 is obviously driver. Okay. Like a lot of people are going to be looking at the stats and saying, "Oh, he was a great driver, he should get in." But there's other ways that people can get in, or maybe there's a combination of everything that makes that nominee eligible to really get into the Hall of Fame, because it's more than just what you do on track.
Okay. Yeah, I thought you were talking about like who gets on the ballot.
Yeah.
Gotcha. But when it comes to who will get in the Hall of Fame, it is stat heavy, and as it should be, because this is a racing league, and the majority of what you do in this league revolves around racing. And we do have some people that help out specifically with other areas, like Tico, for example. He got in last time around just for being a steward and his contributions to the stewarding department. But yeah, a lot of it's stat heavy, but on the right-hand side of the fancy sheet you have in front of you is notable accomplishments. And these are kind of the bullet points of what makes certain people stand out in front of others. And we'll maybe get into this a little bit, but championships are obviously a big factor. We've got all the driver championships in the notable accomplishments of who got what championship in TCR history. I do want to point out, you may see some champions from after season 10, like season 12, season 14, but that's because they raced between seasons 1 and 10. You know, they made starts in between seasons 1 and 10. So B-Tom, for example, on here he's Tasmanian Devil because that was his name before he had an identity change. He did race between seasons 1 and 10. Not much, but he did race enough to where he is on the ballot. And of course, B-Tom is a 7-time champion.
Yeah, that's a good point. The usernames in here, and you were right on, spot on. It could be an older username, so you might see something slightly. Now, you want to double check that that's the guy you're thinking of because, for example, a lot of the current drivers, just an example, a lot of the current drivers is going to say, oh, silence on the ballot. Why doesn't his stat show it? Well, this silent is different than the silent that's been the recent official moderator and been in platinum and winning races. This is a different silent. So you just want to make sure, you know, that that's the person. But silent is also not eligible yet because he didn't race in the first 10 seasons. I think he and a couple others joined in season 11. So then he'd be eligible next year. And then obviously that would be that. So anywho, what are our reactions? I think we kind of went over most of everything. Oh, well, what are the other two ways, right? So driver is big, number one, but then you could also get in if you're a notable. What were the other two? I think I kind of forgot.
So if you have been a notable commentator, and what I mean by that is someone who's commentated a lot or has been a voice of TCR, you know, the lead commentator for the top tier in TCR, you will be in there as a notable accomplishment. So Sir Charles, for example, he's commentated plenty of TCR races. He has commentator listed under his notable accomplishments as well. And I believe Alan Cavey is listed as commentator as well because he was one of the voices of TCR back in the day. So that is another way you could get in. The other way you could get in is if you have been an official. We've had,
or like a big contributor almost, like you.
Yeah,
maybe not even an official, but maybe you weren't even an official, but maybe, you know, you were really active in the chats and, you know, you made TCR special during your time here for XYZ. You know, anything that I guess sparks a big valuable accomplishment, something notable that driver or member did in this case. You know, as long as you can, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for?
I think balance is the word you're looking for.
A good balance, but
when you're looking,
advocate. If you can advocate for your vote, right? If you can back it up by saying, hey, blah, 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 I'm voting for this because, not just because, oh, he's my best friend. Well, all right, that's good, but like, you know.
Yeah.
What did he really do, right?
But when I say the word balance, what I'm talking about is, and this is more so for the people that are going to be voting, when you're looking at the nominees and you're going through and you're looking at the stats, you're looking at the notable accomplishments, you really got to take the whole pizza. You know, this isn't just one slice of pizza and that's your favorite. You got to look at all the slices of pizza and you got to determine, okay, whose pizza is better than the others, right? I don't know if you want to mention anybody.
Yeah, I think that's a good time.
We want to get into that, but
yeah, for sure.
Somebody that stands out to me right away is Jones. Now, Jones is no longer in TCR, but he is someone who contributed a lot, not just on the track, but off the track as well. He's got a championship. He helped out with graphics, right? He helped out with graphics,
Yes.
2-time constructors champion, along with being a driver's champion. That's a good example right there, because he was obviously great as a driver, but he also contributed in TCR outside of the driver's seat.
Yeah, absolutely. Great example. And honestly, he did have a great balance. Championship, an official, some commentary, which was good when he stepped in there. But yeah, he was, I guess, the head of graphics when he was in here for multiple seasons. So, that's a great example of one. I think I'm going to go and just kind of pop out some notables that I think, like, I guess when I'm looking at the list, because I'm going to be voting. Now, I'm not announcing who I'm voting for. I think we all will get 10 votes. I think the way it is, so you don't have to vote. Now, I don't know, the number might change, but you don't have to vote for everyone. Like, if you get 10 votes, you don't have to give 10 out if you don't think 10 are eligible. But I think there's more than plenty, though. I think everyone should use their votes because there's plenty of drivers to choose from, and there's so many that are deserving. But when I think of TCR in the first 10 seasons, I think of a few guys, at least that I've raced alongside, that I can vouch for on the track. And that would be this guy here. Gijo Breezy, 2-time Platinum Class champion. He's the only other multi-champion other than myself and one other driver that I'll be mentioning. But Gijo Breezy, as well as our Season 5 champion of Sean, who was also an official, as well as, where'd he go? Go-to guy. Season 6 Platinum Class champion. I had the privilege to race alongside both Breezy, Go-To Guy, and Sean. And in the Platinum Class, I will say that when you look at a lot of the stats in that time era, and a lot of them still stand today, apart from this next driver that I'll mention, kind of broke them all. But
I think I know who that is.
But it was Sean, Go-To, Breezy, and myself who were the top 4 on pretty much every category that you can think of. Poles, fast laps, wins, podiums, most points scored, you name it, constructors. I mean, us 4 really, from seasons, I guess, 5 to 9, and obviously some of my championships were earlier, us 4 were kind of the staple in the first 10 seasons. Now, that obviously has changed because another one who is on the ballot, who is a current driver, and our top driver at the moment is Tasmanian Devil, who should absolutely be a shoo-in, or B-Tom, as a lot know. I mean, all the championships, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. His first season was season 10, his rookie season, and then from then on, 1 in 11. And then he won 4 in a row. And then he's also got some constructors as well. So huge person here. And I think, is this the wins? I think he's got 49 race wins, which is a league total. So those are a couple notables that I would throw out. When I looked at those lists, those were big, heavy hitters in my eyes. And there's plenty more too. Racing alongside even some others in other categories, which probably Camden can attest more to, as you raced alongside some silver and golden drivers. And we've also both had the privilege to commentate and also talk about them on the podcast throughout all of our episodes. So I think, yourself and I both have a lot of opinions on these drivers. But anyone else that maybe you raced alongside that you can maybe, slot out?
Well, it's interesting because, the only reason I even was on a Hall of Fame ballot up until this point is because I raced 3 races back in season 3.
Right.
Went away for a while and came back in season 12. So really, I'm accustomed to season 12 and beyond.
Right.
But the thing is, though, because of that, I have raced with guys who were back around in seasons 1 through 10, and they are on the ballot. And they happen to race through season 13, 14, yada, yada. And there's a couple guys who stand out to me on this ballot as people who could potentially get in. The first guy I just want to point out is TJ. Because TJ, and, he'll agree with this, when he came in the league, he was a back marker. He was just kind of there. And then he got really good really quickly and ended up winning the season 13 Golden Class Championship. And the way that he won that championship, halfway through the season, he was in contention, but he wasn't the guy. I think Warriors was leading the points, and then TJ had this phenomenal second half of the season, won the championship, and he's gone on to win 3 Constructors Championships after this. TJ's always been solid ever since he got his mojo going, if you will. And then the other guy, I really think Charles should be in consideration for getting in. He's been a commentator, like I said. He's been a moderator. He's helped out in the Discord, but I really feel like he's done a great job on the track. He's got a Silver Class Championship under his name. Besides that, he's got 9. Charles?
Yeah, he's silver.
No, it was silver. Yeah, that was the battle with he and Blinn when Charles won it on the final lap. Yeah, that was silver because he got the Silver Constructors Championship that season. But
you know what? It's funny too because Sir Charles is probably, if he does listen to our podcast, he probably would for this one at least. He probably noticed that error. He already probably messaged me, but he didn't finish watching the rest of the video. Now he realized, oh shit, I fixed it. So my bad, Sir Charles. We got you all corrected now.
The thing I want to point at, though, and this is something that people should really keep in mind, is the finish percentage. I think that's an underrated category, and Charles is at 93%, which is really good. There's a lot of drivers who are around that range, but Charles, he hasn't DNF'd recently, and by recently, I mean during my time I've been in TCR. He's been one of the more consistent drivers, is competitive whenever he does show up, and I think he should be in consideration. But one more real quick driver. I never raced against him. He was before my time in the Silver Class series, like literally, like I came in the season after he left. I think Bambuki should get a lot of strong considerations for getting in. Back-to-back Silver Class champion.
Only
he really didn't race much in TCR, so he should definitely get in.
Only 2-time silver champion, and he went back to back in a little belly to belly. So yeah, I like Bambuki. That was a fun time in TCR. So yeah, him and a lot of his other French drivers had joined the Silver Class. You know who I need to get in this Hall of Fame?
Who? I'm curious.
I'm throwing it out there. Blinn Machine. I'm putting it out there because I think he should definitely get looked at. Obviously, he doesn't have a driver's championship to his name. He's a constructor. He was a very notable official. I mean, his work that he did as an official, as the second voice of TCR, he's kind of the one who improved our commentary and that whole department. He basically, I forget if I asked him to be an official or if he asked me, but he basically said that he wants to be the head of commentary and he wants to put out, he wants to improve that department because, we were kind of struggling of getting some commentators at the time and having consistency there and having our commentators put on good streams where they're knowledgeable. And that's when he had the pre-race commentary packages that he would provide the commentators and the effort and work that he's done with that. Not only with that, but we did TCR trophies in one season. He helped ship out trophies to the league. He helped with TCR stickers. He and his wife helped actually create stickers for the league, which some probably have gotten. And little things like that all throughout. Plus, he always showed up and his effort, was really good. And he kind of really put that staple into the commentary. So, yes, he was a great driver. And honestly, if you look at all the Silver Class statistics, he's up towards the top. The only thing he's really missing is the Drivers' Championship. But he's got the constructor. He's got many wins and podiums if we go to it. But more so, the work he did as an official and a commentator, cannot be, unmissed. He's got 9 wins, all in silver. So, good nominee in my eyes.
Yeah, I want to touch up on that real quick because I raced with Blinn in AOR and then over here in TCR from seasons 12 through 14. I don't think he was around in 15, but Blinn was good. Blinn was, in my time in TCR, when I raced Silver Class, he was always one of the few guys to where it's like, okay, I got to focus on him because he's going to be in contention for wins and championships. But besides that, yeah, you nailed it when it comes to the commentary.
Yeah.
He really laid the foundation out for me when I became the head of commentary, because he went and put all of the pre-race packages together. All of the stuff that I talk about on stream, whether it's stats or...
Who'd you learn it from?
I learned that from Blinn.
Probably,
Blinn put all the documents together, and I basically have copied those over in recent seasons. And but he put that foundation there and kind of gave me the idea of like, okay, I need some sort of something to lean on when I'm commentating. That way I can rely on stats and standings and whatnot. I really wish I would have been able to commentate a race with Blinn. I don't think I ever did.
Really? Wow. That's something that needs to happen. Blinn,
that's one of the things I wish that we would have done.
Oh, it'll happen. I mean, he's not dead. I mean, come on. We got to bring him back for one. Maybe a special event in season 20. The invite is there. Take it or leave it, Blinn. Who else?
I never. Not only did I never have any issues with Blinn, but I don't think anybody did. He seemed like he was very easy to work with.
Very easy to work. So nice, and very minimal instances. There's only a few times I can remember that he maybe have gotten heated after a league race, and that's probably when he lost the championship. So I mean, I understand that. But also some other drivers from earlier on, because obviously I know a lot of the first 10 seasons, obviously, is when I was full-time. Destiny, season 4 champion. He's another guy that you talked about, TJ, earlier on. Destiny, he was just kind of more of a gamer, but also was like a motorsport fan. And in season 3, he was really bad. He also has this stat that he loves, and he says that he's the first winner of TCR because he won the race 0 in our season, but he actually didn't actually compete in season 1 because he couldn't. I guess something changed schedule wise, I forget. But anywho, he won race 0, so he loves to say he was the first winner. But in season 3, he was not that quick, but in the off season, he put the time in, and I saw it. And he comes into season 4. No, he wins the last race of season 3. The finale, which was because he practiced all freaking week. And I remember, and then he carried that momentum into season 4, and he won the first 3 or 4 races. And then, he was a staple for the championship. So the improvement and dedication in that time period, he was kind of the one who set the early record of the amount of wins in a row. And until I think later on, Taz beat that record. So he held it for quite a long time. So I would argue him, F1 racer in the silver class, silver champion, silver constructor. He's a veteran with 81 races. You could look at him. Who else? Let's see. Another one, season 10, Kersey, my former teammate. So I got to say something nice, right?
Absolutely.
Season 10 champion. He kind of had a shorter stint in TCR. I would have liked to seen him compete alongside Taz in season 11 and in 12 with Passassin and continue on. So that's the only downside. He has, I guess, 33 races, but it was mainly season 9 and 10 is what he did. So 9 was kind of his rookie year. He did really well and improved and was able to get a season 10. I just wish we got a lot more from him after, because I think we would have got some nice battles afterwards. Let's see here. Anyone else? Season 2 champion, we have NR, who's very rapid on the 2016 and 17 game.
So I just want to clarify. So we're doing this based off of 75% as to who gets in?
As far as...
Or as for if someone can get into the Hall of Fame, they would need 75% of the vote.
Either that, or if not a percentage, you need X amount of votes. So a percentage,
Okay.
yeah. So we got to come up with it, see what makes sense. Because
so here's what I'll say to people, regardless of what determines who gets in, just be mindful of how many votes you're putting in, because you can put up to 10 people, right?
Right.
But if you really don't feel like there's 10 people that you think should get in, don't put 10 people down.
Exactly. Yeah.
Don't do it just because you have 10 votes. Because I'm looking through the list, and I'm not going to give anything away, but I'm kind of debating on if I'm going to vote for 10 people, because we don't want to. First of all, we don't want to overinflate things in one ballot, for season 20, and then no one's left for season 21. But really, though, the Hall of Fame's a big deal. You got to look at the entire scope of the notable accomplishments and the stats, and you got to just use your best judgment to feel who you think deserves to get in.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think we kind of went over a few. I encourage everyone to take your time if you are voting, or if you want to take a look more at the statistics. We have it all in our Discord, so join it. And we have links to it all, so you could take a look. And if you want to help organize it, please reach out ASAP. But yeah, all the statistics are here for the nominees. You also have the separate spreadsheets that kind of break it down. So, take your time, go through it, vote as needed. No rush at all. But yeah, we want to make sure the proper people get in. And then, what else was I going to say? And then I guess the only other thing was the former people who already got in. I guess we can just refamiliarize everyone. 6 people have gotten in, so if you don't see your name, you're like, oh, well, we're probably already in. So it was the first season. I believe it was Tico, Mr. Sensation, and myself for the first induction. The second one was GTR Lion, Professional, and yourself, Camden.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
Who will join?
It's a good question.
We will see. Any other things you want to add there, Camden?
Well, I think you guys should just keep on the lookout for new episodes. We already have more of them coming your way, so just stay tuned for that. And there's big things coming with the podcast, so just stay on your toes, because it's only uphill from here.
Absolutely. All right. So I just want to end on that, and thank you all for watching and tuning in. Hope you all enjoyed. You know what to do. Make sure you follow TCR on all social and join our Discord server where we are the most active. And until next time, have a good night, everybody.